Imagine reaching into your pocket, finding an ordinary-looking quarter, and wondering for just 1 second, could this little 25-cent coin actually be worth more than its face value? Welcome back to Liberty Coin History, where we explore the stories, details, varieties, and collecting potential hidden inside American coins. Today, we are starting a brand new top 2 coins journey, and our first coin is the Massachusetts 2000 Bay State Quarter, officially part of the 50 State Quarters program. At first glance, this coin may look like nothing more than a common piece of pocket change, especially if it is dirty, worn, or scratched. But coin collecting teaches us an important lesson. Never judge a coin only by its appearance. The date, mint mark, condition, strike, errors, varieties, and collector demand can all change the story. So before you spend that Massachusetts quarter, take a closer look, because the smallest details can sometimes be the most interesting ones. The coin we are examining today represents Massachusetts, the Bay State, and it was released in 2000 as part of the United States Mint's historic 50 State Quarters program. The Massachusetts quarter carries a powerful design featuring a Minuteman statue standing prominently over an outline of the state. Beneath the design is the inscription Massachusetts, while the familiar inscriptions United States of America, quarter dollar, liberty, and in God we trust complete the coin's identity. This design was chosen because Massachusetts played a major role in the American Revolution and early American history. The Minuteman is a symbol of the ordinary citizens who were prepared to defend their communities during the Revolutionary era. That means this quarter is not simply a piece of metal. It is also a miniature reminder of one of the most important periods in United States history. Now let's talk about the phrase that makes many coin hunters stop and look twice: 1788-2000. On the Massachusetts quarter, 1788 represents the year Massachusetts became the 6th state admitted to the Union, while 2000 represents the year this state quarter was issued. This combination of dates makes the coin immediately recognizable. If you have one sitting in a jar, drawer, collection, or old box of change, compare it carefully with other quarters. Look at the date, examine the design, and most importantly, locate the mint mark. Depending on where it was produced, you may see a P for Philadelphia, D for Denver, or potentially an S on special proof issues. The mint mark alone does not automatically make a coin rare or extremely valuable, but it is an essential piece of information when identifying and evaluating a coin. One of the biggest mistakes new collectors make is assuming that every old-looking quarter is automatically worth hundreds or thousands of dollars. That is not how coin values work. The Massachusetts 2000 quarter was produced in large numbers, meaning an ordinary circulated example generally remains a common coin rather than a major rarity. However, that does not mean you should ignore it. Collectors pay attention to coins with unusual characteristics, including genuine mint errors, strong varieties, exceptional condition, and coins that have been preserved far better than the average example. A heavily circulated Massachusetts quarter may be worth close to face value, while an exceptionally preserved specimen or a coin with a legitimate and significant mint error can attract much greater collector interest. The key is knowing what you actually have before believing an exciting claim about its value. Condition is another major factor we need to discuss. Imagine two Massachusetts quarters from the same year and with the same mint mark. One has been circulating for years, with scratches, dirt, flattened details, and worn surfaces. The other has sharp design details, bright original surfaces, and very little evidence of circulation. These two coins can have very different collector appeal. On the Massachusetts quarter, examine the Minuteman carefully. Are the details of the statue still sharp? The outline of Massachusetts clearly visible? Are the inscriptions strong? Check the rim for damage and look closely at the fields, the flat areas surrounding the main design, for scratches, marks, stains, or unusual features. Remember, however, that cleaning a coin can actually hurt its collector value. If your quarter is dirty, do not aggressively polish or scrub it just to make it look shiny. Original surfaces are important to collectors, and improper cleaning can permanently damage the coin. Now comes the exciting part: errors and unusual features. This is where a common quarter can become much more interesting. Coin hunters sometimes discover coins with off-center strikes, clipped planchets, doubled design elements, die cracks, die breaks, missing or distorted details, or other genuine mint-made abnormalities. But there is a very important warning here. Not every strange-looking mark is an error. Damage that happened after the coin left the mint is extremely common. A coin may become scratched, bent, squeezed, stained, or chemically altered during circulation, and these conditions generally do not make it rare. That is why serious collectors carefully distinguish between a true mint error and ordinary damage. If you believe your Massachusetts quarter has something unusual, compare it with normal examples, photograph the feature clearly, and consider getting professional opinions before assuming you have discovered a fortune. Another fascinating feature of the Massachusetts quarter is how it connects coin collecting with American history. When you hold this quarter, you are holding an object representing Massachusetts, one of the original 13 colonies and a major center of the American Revolution. The Minuteman design immediately brings to mind the events surrounding Lexington and Concord and the beginning of armed conflict in 1775. The coin therefore has educational value even when it has no unusual monetary premium. This is one of the reasons state quarters became so popular. They encouraged millions of people to examine everyday change and learn something about the history and geography of the United States. A child finding a Massachusetts quarter might become curious about the Minuteman, then learn about the Revolution, and eventually become interested in collecting coins. That is the magic of numismatics. So, could this 2000 Massachusetts Bay State quarter make you rich? For an ordinary circulated example, you should keep your expectations realistic. Most examples are common, and simply being a 2000 Massachusetts quarter does not make it a jackpot coin. Online videos and social media posts sometimes advertise enormous values for ordinary coins, but those claims can be misleading when they leave out the exact condition, certification, rarity, auction history, or special error involved. A coin selling for a large amount at auction is not proof that every coin of the same date and design is worth that amount. The real question is not simply, what is the highest price ever reported? The better question is, what specific characteristics does my coin have, and what have comparable examples actually sold for? That mindset will help you become a smarter and more successful collector. If your Massachusetts quarter is dirty or heavily circulated, don't throw it away and don't immediately assume it has no value. Instead, preserve it and examine it carefully under good lighting. A simple magnifying glass can help you inspect the date, mint mark, lettering, Minuteman, state outline, rim, and other design elements. Look for anything that appears genuinely unusual and compare it with photographs of normal Massachusetts quarters. Avoid using harsh chemicals or metal polish. Put the coin in a safe holder or envelope if you want to preserve it, and keep notes about where you found it. Sometimes the fun of coin collecting is not knowing whether you have something valuable at first. The discovery process itself is what keeps collectors searching through jars, rolls, drawers, old collections, and pocket change. And remember, this is only coin number 1 in our top 2 coins video. The Massachusetts quarter gives us the perfect example of why ordinary-looking American coins deserve a second look. It has history, symbolism, a fascinating state connection, and the possibility of collector interest when special characteristics are present. But our search doesn't end here. The second coin in today's video could have an entirely different story, and that's why you should stay with us until the end. Coin collecting is not about believing every unbelievable price you hear online. It is about learning how dates, mint marks, varieties, errors, condition, rarity, and demand work together. The more you learn, the better your chances become of recognizing a genuinely interesting coin when one appears. Before we move toward our second coin, take a moment and check your own change. Do you have a 2000 Massachusetts Bay State quarter? Look at it closely. Is there a P or D mint mark? Is the Minuteman sharply detailed or heavily worn? Does the coin show normal circulation damage, or does it contain a feature that appears to have originated during the minting process? Is the rim complete? Are the letters and numbers properly formed? These small questions can turn an ordinary coin hunt into a fascinating investigation. And if you discover something unusual, don't clean it, don't damage it, and don't rush to sell it based on an internet claim. Document what you found and seek reliable information. Remember, knowledge is often more valuable than excitement when it comes to coin collecting. If you enjoy discovering the hidden stories behind American coins, make sure you become part of the Liberty Coin History community. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you don't miss our upcoming coin discoveries. Tell us in the comments whether you have ever found a Massachusetts 2000 quarter in your pocket change and what condition it was in. Maybe you have one that looks completely ordinary, or perhaps you noticed a strange mark that you've never seen before. Every coin has a story, and every collector starts somewhere. The important thing is to keep learning, keep searching, and keep looking closely. And most importantly, remember our collector's rule. Before you spend a coin, check it first, because you never know what history might be hiding in your pocket. This video is for educational and entertainment purposes, and coin values can vary significantly depending on authenticity, condition, rarity, errors, certification, collector demand, and market conditions. Always verify important valuations through reliable numismatic references or qualified professionals. Now, let's get ready to uncover coin number 2 and see what makes the next piece of American coinage worth examining. Today we are continuing our exciting top 2 coins journey with our second coin, the New York State quarter dated 2001, featuring the powerful theme, Gateway to Freedom. If you have ever found one of these quarters in your pocket, coin jar, or old collection, you may have thought it was simply another 25-cent piece. But look again, because this coin represents an important chapter of American history. The coin carries the date 1788-2001, with 1788 representing New York's admission to the Union as the 11th state, and 2001 representing the year this state quarter was released. The design features the famous Statue of Liberty over an outline of New York State, making this one of the most recognizable designs in the entire 50-state quarter series. But the big question is, could your particular example have something special that makes collectors want to take a second look? The New York quarter was part of the United States Mint's enormously popular 50-state quarters program, which introduced coins representing each state in the order the states joined the Union. New York's turn came in 2001, and the design selected for the quarter was deeply connected with the state's identity. The Statue of Liberty rises prominently from the design, while the outline of New York appears behind it. Across the coin is the meaningful inscription, Gateway to Freedom. This was an especially fitting theme because New York Harbor and the Statue of Liberty became internationally recognized symbols of freedom, opportunity, and the American experience. When you hold this quarter in your hand, you are holding a tiny piece of a much larger story, one involving American independence, immigration, New York Harbor, and the enduring idea of freedom. Now let's slow down and examine the dates because this is one of the first details every collector should understand. The inscription 1788-2001 does not mean the coin was minted in 1788. The year 1788 marks the year New York became the 11th state of the United States, while 2001 identifies the year this particular state quarter was issued. This distinction is important because collectors sometimes see 2 dates on a commemorative style design and misunderstand what they represent. On the New York quarter, The two dates work together to connect the state's history with the modern coin. So if you have a New York quarter showing 1788-2001, you have the correct historical date combination for this issue. The next thing you should check is the mint mark, because different mint facilities produced regular versions of the coin. Take your quarter under a good light and look carefully for a P or D mint mark, depending on the production facility. You may also encounter proof examples with an S mint mark, which were made specifically for collectors. But here's something important. A mint mark alone does not automatically make a coin rare or extremely valuable. Large numbers of New York quarters were produced, and ordinary circulated examples are generally common. What makes coin hunting exciting is searching for the exceptions, coins with unusual minting characteristics, varieties, exceptional preservation, or other features that separate them from ordinary examples. This is why experienced collectors don't simply look at the year. They examine the entire coin from edge to edge, comparing every important detail with known normal examples. Condition is another major part of the story. Imagine finding two 2001 New York quarters. One has spent years in circulation and is covered with scratches, stains, contact marks, and worn details. The other has sharp lettering, strong design elements, clean surfaces, and very little evidence of circulation. Even though both coins have the same basic design and date, their collector appeal can be very different. Look closely at the Statue of Liberty, the outline of New York, the lettering, the date, and the rim. On a worn coin, some of these details may become weak or flattened. On a high-quality example, they can remain crisp and attractive. If your coin is dirty, however, do not rush to clean it. Harsh cleaning can leave scratches and unnatural surfaces, potentially reducing its desirability to collectors. Now we reach the part that makes coin hunters especially excited: mint errors. A genuine mint error can sometimes transform an ordinary coin into something much more interesting. Collectors search for characteristics such as off-center strikes, clip planchets, die cracks, die breaks, double design elements, and other abnormalities created during the minting process. But there is a major warning here. Not every unusual-looking mark is a mint error. A scratch, dent, discoloration, chemical reaction, or damage from machinery after the coin entered circulation is usually just damage. This distinction is extremely important. If your 2001 New York quarter has something strange, don't immediately assume you have discovered a fortune. Compare it with normal examples, study the feature carefully, and if necessary, seek an opinion from a knowledgeable numismatist or professional grading service. The Statue of Liberty makes this quarter particularly fascinating from a historical perspective. The monument was given to the United States by France and became an enduring symbol of freedom and welcome. The New York quarter captures that symbolism in miniature. The words "Gateway to Freedom" reinforce the connection between New York and the millions of people who associated the harbor and the Statue of Liberty with the promise of a new life in America. This means that even an ordinary example can be an enjoyable historical collectible. State quarters became popular partly because they allowed people to learn about the country simply by examining their change. Instead of seeing a quarter as just 25 cents, collectors began seeing landmarks, historical figures, state symbols, and stories. But let's answer the question that is probably on your mind. Is the 2001 New York quarter worth a fortune? In most cases, an ordinary circulated example is not a rare jackpot coin. The date 2001 and the Statue of Liberty design alone do not make every New York quarter worth hundreds or thousands of dollars. You should be very careful with sensational claims suggesting that every example is worth an enormous amount. Coin values depend on the specific coin's condition, mint mark, rarity, variety, authenticity, errors, certification, and collector demand. A particularly unusual error or extremely high-grade example can be much more desirable than an ordinary circulated coin. Therefore, instead of asking only for the highest possible value, a serious collector asks what the specific coin actually is and what comparable examples have sold for. If you have a 2001 New York quarter, now is the perfect time to become a coin detective. Start with the date and confirm that it reads 1788-2001. Then, identify the mint mark. Examine both sides under good lighting and use a magnifying glass if you have one. Study the Statue of Liberty, the state outline, lettering, date, rim, and fields. Look for genuine mint-made abnormalities rather than ordinary scratches or damage. If you have several New York quarters, place them side by side and compare them. Sometimes differences become much easier to recognize when two examples are directly next to each other. And remember one of the most important rules in collecting. Don't clean your coin just because it looks dirty. Original surfaces can be important, and aggressive cleaning can permanently damage a potentially collectible piece. The New York 2001 quarter also demonstrates why collectors should never judge a coin only by its face value. Yes, it says quarter dollar, and yes, it was designed for everyday commerce, but coins can become historical objects as they travel through time. Think about how many people may have handled the quarter before it reached you. It may have traveled through stores, restaurants, vending machines, banks, coin jars, and collections. Every scratch tells a little part of its journey, while the design tells a much bigger story about New York and the United States. Even if your particular example turns out to be worth only a small premium, or simply its face value, it can still be a fascinating addition to a collection. So now we have reached the end of our examination of coin number 2, the 2001 New York State Quarter, 1788-2001, Gateway to Freedom. Alongside our first coin, the Massachusetts Bay State Quarter, this coin shows exactly why the State Quarters series became such an important chapter in modern American coin collecting. Massachusetts brings us the Minuteman and the story of the American Revolution, while New York brings us the Statue of Liberty and the powerful message of freedom. 2 quarters, 2 states, 2 historical stories, and countless possibilities for collectors who take the time to look carefully. That's what makes coin hunting so exciting. Sometimes the most interesting discovery isn't necessarily a $1 million coin, but a piece that makes you stop, investigate, and learn something new. If you enjoyed today's Liberty Coin History Coin Hunt, make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss our next discovery. And tell us in the comments, do you have a 2001 New York Gateway to Freedom quarter in your collection? What mint mark does yours have, and what condition is it in? Check your pocket change, old coin jars, drawers, and collections before spending your state quarters. You never know when you might find an unusual variety or genuine mint error hiding among ordinary coins.